Expeditious is the name of the game, and we will now donate some of these extra troops to Zahara, the spice vendor, and hopefully a little bit of fancy editing and that whole process of a couple of these infantry over there, a couple of these archers over there. Hopefully it's a relatively quick blur for you guys, and you guys don't mind sort of the housekeeping that's necessary. These are the kind of steps that I'm learning to skip a lot in this campaign. You really don't need to see me do this each time. Of course, I just continue to narrate, right? I've gotten really used to just talking. My wife probably likes it because now she can actually have 50% of the conversation when the two of us talk. Admittedly, I'm a motor mouth. I guess that's why I have a YouTube channel. And I have to very consciously, with strong introspection, tell myself to shut the fuck up when I hang out with my wife, right? That way she can talk a lot. I try very hard to be a good listener, and I don't always succeed, right? It's a problem. But first step to solving a problem is being aware of the problem, right? So I've got at least to step number one. All right, we're going to race down here, and this is kind of funny. It actually looks like a race. Even though I want this guy, I guess he is on defensive. I want him to go north. Of course, you just don't have that kind of control. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. I don't want these looters getting in the way of this. I'm not going to be farming looters in the campaign. This is from that mod I'm using. But these guys here might have been a problem for our other army. And there's at least some chance that we need both of these armies down here, right? The Southern Empire... just for background, absolutely swept through the south and blew the Valandians out of there. The Valandians, right? The Valandians had held court in the south, so to speak, for multiple game years. And the Southern Empire, whatever they did, right? They just got on a steamroller. Maybe the Empress has eaten her spinach in her old age, and they trucked everything in sight. So there's a good chance there's 2,000 or 3,000 Southern Empire fucks sieging Husson folk here. So it's a good thing. We got this other army coming with us. However, that means the north is totally undefended, right? This is just... Is that the... Oh no. The Southern Empire, so they're going to siege a castle as well. So they must have lots of troops here, right? That's all you need to know. Of course, that castle's not super well defended, so that could be 500 troops there. But we shall see. I don't know if I'm going to edit this part out here again. Fuck it. I'll just keep narrating. So again, Danustica is one of the cities here that we are very lightly defending, right? You can kind of see it's 140 troops, and there's a lot of scrubs here, right? I'm trying to put more troops there, but of course the pressure of this campaign, it gets to you, right? When you're facing non-stop assaults everywhere, very difficult to just start putting, 50 of these elite troops and 20 of those elite troops in the garrison. For a rainy day, it's raining every day, right? So today is a rainy day, right? We need these troops today. We need them tomorrow. We can't afford to put them in these cities until we catch a little breather. Now we are making progress, so I don't want to make it sound like we're somehow failing at this campaign. Obviously, we're adding territory, and vitally with that, what that means is that there are lots of cities building up more troops, right? You can think of it. It's like having a bunch of fishing lines out. You're going to catch some fish. This guy's beating down a Southern Empire force. I think we can help him here. That'll expedite his availability to help attack whatever. Of course, he may just go the other way, right? That's one of the hazards or difficult parts of the nobles. These other nobles. There is a lot of troops there. I think there's a big army in there, and there's a bunch of small other armies assaulting the citadel. So we got a big battle looming here. But, we've skated to where the puck is. We've got a big army ourselves. So we actually have a big army and a small army. So let's do this. 28. They just disappeared because it's nighttime or whatever. It looked like they had almost 3,000. But look at this shit. This is awesome. We'll handle them, and then we'll head down to Tamnu Castle. It's like the cavalry are literally rolling in, right? Both of us are disorganized from stomping that smaller army. That's 3,000-ish. And now we roll in here with the sunrise like the Rohirrim, right? Blow the horns, boys. We're here. We're going to fucking mangle some Southern Empire today. There's some exhilarating music playing way too loud in the background. Oh, shit. No, don't leave, motherfucker. running from Sichanus. Well, you showed your fucking true stripes right there, motherfucker. You just immediately run. You're standing next to Wazuban. Don't run. I mean, we might be able to win without him, but it'd sure be nice, you know, if our fucking army here actually helped. But it is what it is, right? I don't think this guy's going to help. If I stall too long, we will lose the other castle as well. So we're going to try this shit. God, of course they have a stacked army. 182 elite cataphract, 142 Aserai veteran infantry. That's amazing. That's almost certainly more than we have in our whole army, and we're Aserai culture. But of course, the Southern Empire have been in the south. Oh shit! This battlefield again. Well, of course it's this battlefield again. This is like the third time in this campaign we've fended off Huss and Folk from a huge defense, a huge attack. Just backpedaling away from the enemy here until I get our units assigned here. Even though I have 10,000 units and I'm the Tsar or whatever, the Sultan in charge of this clan, I still get just chucked into these battle scenes and don't get to set up my units. I don't get my shield and shock. I don't get to delineate the units that I want to, right? I want to have some skirmishers and shock troops. No, I don't get any of that. It's just, here you go. I feel like Elon Musk, and he tried to get on his plane, and they're like, "Do you have any ID, dude? Where's your identification?" And he's like, "I own the whole company." And they're like, "Well, we got to see your ID, dude." And he's like, "Are you serious? Someone call security. This guy's being belligerent." That's how I feel right now. I'm the fucking sultan of this clan, and I get no time to set up the battlefield here. It's almost like they're role-playing that Wazuban woke up drunk, ate an onion, threw his armor on backwards. He actually put somebody else's armor on so it doesn't even fit him well. And then we just, "You're in charge, sir. Go for it." Who are we fighting? I don't know. You'll see. Good luck. Can I assign my captains? No. You don't get to do any of that. Here's your onion for breakfast. That's really how this feels. Now, fortunately, I can hold down the Alt button, right, and we can just spy on their units. We can say, okay, I don't actually have to do that. Look how many cavalry that is. The whole plain over on the other side of that river is covered with Southern Empire scum cavalry. And, of course, high-ranking nobles, so these motherfuckers are blocking everything. All right, well, we're going to use this water to our advantage. In a way, it's optimal that it's cavalry. Infantry would be... I mean, infantry we'd be able to deal with well also with this water. But we're outnumbered 2-1, so we have to be highly successful. Oh, shit, I got to change the RTS mod. Sometimes I have it set for slow-mo, right, for a cutscene or something like that. We got that shit fixed. It's another beautiful battleground here. We've got all kinds of spectacular lighting and reflections. And hopefully it's reflecting off the bodies of the dead Southern Empire forces as they get fucking obliterated in the water here. I've got the horse archers, the 7th we can start to spread to the enemy's right. I got the 4th and 5th archers. With the 6th is a skirmisher and shock troop archer mix, basically. It's going to be an amalgamation of different troops. But I have 5 different ranged units in this battle, right? The only ones that aren't primarily ranged are it's just the 1st Corps, the 2nd Cavalry, and the shock troops. And even some of the shock troops, you know, they'll throw those little pitiful axes. They're not great, but technically it's a projectile. It's a fucking solid wall of cavalry pouring in here, so we're going to do everything we can, besides the water, slowing this down. I don't have enough shields. I wish I had more shields. There's an incredible amount of shock troops in all of our infantry divisions. So, when you have lots of shock troops, don't form a square, charge. Right, let's get in there, hold fire. I don't want them throwing those little pitiful axes. Get your asses in there and start chopping the heads off of cavalrymen. The enemy's got a huge amount of Jav Cav as well. Of course, this is basically a very similar army to ours. They have a huge amount of Aserai Ferris. They probably have Palace Guards too. They're certainly going to have Legionnaires, Legionary, and Aserai Veteran Infantry, right? We know that already. I think there was 140 something when we looked before the battle started. So this is going to be a slugfest. they're mauling the infantry in the middle there. I was going to try to kite with my infantry, and frankly, I didn't plan very well here. Like I said, they threw me into battle here. That onion's not providing a lot of nourishment for my brain. This is kind of a funny little side thing, but we were busy last night in the fire department, and I'm playing on short amount of sleep, right? I'm not tired enough to go to bed. It's early in the day. I'm caffeinated, but a little extra side thing, right? We get a little, it's not like a hangover, but I'm tired. So if my narration fucking sucks, that's why. Of course, we're basically trained and programmed to function on lack of sleep, so we'll see what we do here. But so far, I'm butchering this battle. It's messy. I can't tell. I'm throwing javelins at my own guys. Scratch that. I'm killing my own guys with javelins. Let's pull out the axe. At least there's no friendly fire here. And maybe we can come up with some coherent plan to win this battle. That doesn't involve killing my own troops. It's a good start. It's always, you just remove the head from the neck. That's always a good strategy. Sun Tzu actually said that. F1, F3, and then head removed from neck. My jokes are probably going to be funny only to me because I'm so tired. Kill these fucks on the way out. These guys trying to regroup. Let's cut their horses down. Of course, they're blocking, parrying. God, that fucking Consguard, an episode or two ago, there was a Consguard in a siege. Motherfucker blocked like 10 times in a row. I don't know if I ever hit him with my axe. He just blocked every single one of them. He was like Morpheus against Neo. You lose. Alright, well, we can bottle up the enemy here. Our cavalry reinforcements can be brought to me here. This is a good tactic for you guys to, if you've never seen this before. All we're trying to do here is create a giant fucking traffic jam. They're being shot by our archers. I don't need these cavalry just stampeding through here, right? So what I'm doing is just bringing this 150 cavalry in here. I don't even care if they kill guys, right? The archers will do the killing. I just want these camels and heavy cav and whatnot in here clogging up the enemies, slowing them down. And of course, some of them are spearing them and throwing their javelins and shit. The Jawal get, I think, 3-4 javelins. And it's working, right? The death spam very quickly turned green. And just like that, we make one coherent positive decision and we're starting to win. Now that's like life, by the way. You try to make one good decision after another. You're going to make some bad decisions. I mean, unless you're fucking Yoda. And I heard even Yoda left the toilet seat up the first time that his girlfriend moved in. You're going to make bad decisions, right? So you just move on. You try to make a good decision more than you make bad decisions, right? And obviously, one good decision, you try to stack them up, right? Another good decision, that's all a battle is, right? That's all life is.
I mean, I can think of another analogy is a poker hand, right? I play No Limit Hold'em poker where you get two cards in front of you and you can lose a lot of money. Of course, you can win a lot of money, but you might play a hand just on a whim, like 9-6 offsuit, you might raise and get re-raised. Well, if someone re-raises and you have 9-6 offsuit, unless you're a spectacularly good player at deep No Limit Hold'em, you fucking fold. You admit you made a not so terrific decision, and you just call it, one mistake. That let's just cut our losses at one mistake, and then some people, of course, they'll re-raise and get into a giant pot with 6-9 offsuit, lose all their money, and later on they'll be like, "Man, I'm such an unlucky player." That is the perfect example of what I'm talking about here. Life is just a series of decisions, right? Whether it's in a relationship or a business, or maybe with your boss, right? You're deciding to come in late because you're irritated that he assigned you work last week. These decisions become cumulatively good or cumulatively bad. That reminds me, too, of one of the most important human traits. And incidentally, a lot of the politicians in the world lack this trait today, and that is called introspection, right? Introspection, it's basically an internal inspection of yourself, right? And it's not easy to do. Of course, the human brain is notoriously favorable to itself. We tend to be biased creatures. It's a survival mechanism. For depressed people, of course, unless you're seriously depressed, those people obviously hate themselves. That's a whole different discussion. And I shouldn't laugh because depression is not funny. Maybe we'll talk about depression at some point because it runs in my family and I can talk about how I deal with it. Anyways, you got to be introspective. You got to look at yourself in an unbiased manner and say, am I making a mistake? That's not a problem. The problem is to deny that you ever make mistakes. Let's help this guy. This guy's being fucking pursued and assaulted. Let's play hero here. Get off. Chop the limbs off these guys. They can't swing their axe when they don't have a limb. The fucking sound, the sound effects of guys dying in this game is terrific. There's always a chance I would have been a mass murderer, like in a different life. Like if I had a couple things go differently, maybe my parents were abusive, because I love the sound of death in Bannerlord. I'm one of those guys that thinks this hilarious. Guys are like, oh, God. I fucking burst out laughing. And I've heard other people say it's funny too. Of course, it's digital pixels. So we can do this without, the FBI starting to listen in to the fucking stream here. But it's just, it's one of the things that really gives the game a good ambiance to it. And I've heard people say they want more death sounds, right? More variety. There's certainly enough death sounds, but variety, they want like 300 death sounds. Well, there's already an incredible amount, and I applaud the death sounds in Bannerlord. All right, so I'm just going to try to strafe charge these infantry here. As our archers are shooting them, I'm trying to sort of slow them down and break them up with this huge cavalry charge. I had a big plan there to totally hammer and anvil the enemy, but then the enemy cav started pursuing us, so I just decided to rush it, and it wasn't that effective. I see like a couple, maybe we got 2 kills with all of those cavalry, which is one of the worst parts of Bannerlord. Charging cavalry, unless of course you're using the RBM mod, cavalry is just so fucking, especially spear cavalry. That'd have been funny if I got killed right there. Spear cavalry is so bad. Wazu Bond gets fucking butchered. But spear cavalry really is bad in Bannerlord, right? The horses themselves do pretty good damage, but the AI doesn't know how to use the spears. It'll, you tell them to charge, and it'll roar in, and half the guys will run the other way, and other guys will run sideways and get in the way of guys who are actually trying to spear the enemy. And meanwhile, the enemy archers, a bunch of tier 2 archers, shoot your cataphract off their seat, right? It's almost like the creators of the game were big fans of the Battle of Agincourt, and we're like, let's remake this shit. How you want to do that, sir? Every battle. I want every battle the cavalry to be annihilated and the archers to win. Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do that. If that's really what you want. All right, well, here's a good use for cavalry, right? They got a bunch of horse archers here shooting us. Again, we can pen them up. We can bring them behind them. And at a minimum, it'll scare these guys away, right? When they turn like that, that's the AI saying, I've assessed a threat. Let's go the other way, right? We're going to get killed. And we got, well, actually, I don't know if we got any kills there, but at least we chased them off with our thunderous spear cavalry. Now, I'd love to charge those guys, right? In real life, if there's a whole bunch of archers in the water, and you had 300, or well, maybe you got 150 cavalry, 125, you would just charge and just obliterate them. But with the game mechanics and how it works, you charge with cavalry in this situation, and you get destroyed. Like so many of you, of course, when I was first playing Bannerlord, I was like, oh, I fucking hammer and anvil. I got a strong infantry line here. I simply drag these cavalry behind the enemy. The enemy's paying me no attention. They got a whole bunch of archers here. We slam them with our cavalry. They're all dead. Wait a minute. Why are we being shot off our horses? I'm looking up. I don't see hardly any death at all. Well, actually, I do. I see all of our units getting killed. And that was really my experience times 100. When I first started playing Bannerlord, you especially spear cavalry. I mean, cons guards and those guys, they just work. But the spear cavalry is really, I think, broken. I don't like using that word very often for a video game because there aren't that many things that are broken. Guys are like, well, the economy's broken. The economy's not that big a deal, right? It's not like they were designing this to be an economic model for a bunch of fucking calculus students or something like that, economic majors. But the spear cavalry in Bannerlord is pretty close to broken.
And you can, I've tried all different formations. I've tried charging in a square. I've had a couple guys recommend that. It makes them nice and dense, but they just don't do any damage, right? They do a little bit of trample damage, and that's it. The skein, I've heard, kind of sort of works in certain situations, but I've never had a lot of luck with it, right? I used to do it all the time. Then I started testing, and when I tested results with it, it didn't really do much better. That's why I started using defensive cavalry, right? I use my cavalry very uniquely, and now I think other people, either independent of my own videos or because of my videos, have now started to use their cavalry defensively. They're very good at holding the line, right? At slowing down enemy cav charges, at absorbing arrows, at distracting, at protecting shock troops. And so we're just simply using the game mechanics and trying to do the best we can. Now, I better explain and talk more tactics here. We're trying to hold that edge because they keep charging with cavalry and they have archers in the valley shooting us. But I'd love to charge these archers and blow them out of the water. I just don't know if I have the resources. On the other side, I've got an archer division that's misplaced. That's a mistake, basically. I should get some support over there. When I get a minute, I'll send some cavalry over there to help them, but it'll probably be too late. Of course, it's been nice having the archers across the river for a lot of this battle because they're strafing all the infantry in the water, right? It's been a benefit until now. Now the enemy has their infantry and archers away from those guys, and those archers are probably getting, what they're getting killed by? They're probably getting killed by spear cavalry, which is kind of funny. I just told you they're worthless. It's not that they're worthless. They should completely obliterate archers. In fact, I can see over there that the archers are not dead, right? That they should be they should be gone. Like when I played Rome Total War, archers would just vaporize when you would charge with a whole bunch of heavy horse. Well, here's the heavy horse revenge, right? This is what we need. We just need all of our cavalry to look like Wazu. I mean, I killed like 10 guys there and trampled another 200. That was a fucking devastating cavalry charge. And they didn't do much to try to stop it either. Well, we pushed them out of the water here, something fierce. But these guys are also kiting. That's not good for us. They're also heading towards their reinforcement area. I have had battles like this in this campaign. And to quote, the old cliche, I don't like the ending of this movie. Right? We're going to have to make some adjustments here. We cannot pursue these guys to the edge of the map. Otherwise, we will lose. Right? A lot of our archers are out of arrows, and they're basically weak infantry now, right? At this stage, I need some reinforcements that have ammunition. Our infantry, at least, is pursuing and destroying here, but I don't like the recipe. These guys are actually kiting. They're playing kind of like I would play, right? Their archers are kiting aggressively. Their horse archers are strafing us, and their infantry should be squaring or fighting it out. Instead, they're running. Don't do that part. But everything else here the AI is doing is actually pretty good. They're moving a little too much, and this is why you want to have 3-4 archer divisions. Well, you move one, the other one shoots, right? And it's a big deterrent for the enemy. If they started shooting me, I wheel out of here, right? I don't charge and run down another 7 or 8 archers. But because they either all move or all stand still, they're either vulnerable or they're standing still, and of course then our infantry is closing. They can't kite very effectively with one unit. Think of like a first-person shooter, where you and your friend are trying to move in on a target, or maybe it's 4 of you or something like that. You move 1 or 2 at a time, right? Go, 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 right? That's what the Bannerlord AI needs real bad for their archers. And incidentally, if you're still using 1 archer corps, that should be your reason of why you have 2, right? If you've never tried 2 or 3, I think the very first time that you start to do it comfortably, you will enjoy it, right? You will be strafing the enemy. You will be flanking the enemy with archers. God, they got 200 cavalry on the wall. I keep looking for an advantage that we can press, and I don't see any. I've got archers over on the other side, fucking charging horse archers with no ammo. You know how bad result that is? I see peasants here in bathrobes. Now, of course, the enemy's coming up aggressively. Their units are all fucking together. Their archers really do seem terrified of Wazu. Every time I run in here, of course he's killing every other guy. I guess I would run too. But they're literally kiting like to the edge of the map. I've got one Khazate guy stabbing him with his spear. Here's a couple more. And Wazuban has trampled fucking 150 archers. That was my wife's first experience to Bannerlord. She was watching me play on a laptop on vacation. And she heard me just running over and she was like, "What are you watching? Is that porn?" And she started laughing when she looked at it. She's like, "You're just running over all these people?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's like road rage medieval style, right? It's very satisfying to ride up on your horse and just cut down these these hapless troops on the ground, right? It's a very satisfying thing, and ultimately that's what they make video games for, right? They make it fucking satisfy us, right? It's like a comfort food meal at a restaurant where they pile in the sugar, salt, and everything else. It's supposed to fucking satiate all your little endorphins and not endorphins, but you guys know what I mean, right? It's supposed to satiate all your brain chemicals. So speaking of using our brain here, let's pull the fuck out, right? The enemy's regrouping. We need to as well. I've got to figure out some advantage here because I don't see one. The enemy has a gigantic amount of troops still. They have a huge zerg of archers up there. They've got cavalry on our flank. It looked like 200 guys. And meanwhile, I've got these guys look like they're ready to go to Mecca and not a battlefield. I've got a whole bunch of pilgrims. I'm trying to remember what they're called. I have studied a little bit of Muslim history and Mecca and stuff like that, but I haven't memorized it. Right? I'm still working on that side of thing, and I will never have the firm grasp that some of you fellas, especially you fellas that are from areas where it's very dear to you, right? I'm just kind of a Westerner imposter here trying to respect your culture. Bannerlord is very much an international game. For those who don't know, I'm almost certain this game is made in Turkey, right? I think it's a Turkish company. They might even be oh, you fucking assholes. Their horse archers are cutting down our archers here. I wasn't calling you Turkey folks an asshole. These fucking horse archers. I know they look like Turkish folks. We're not being racist, I promise. They're just fucking, they're chopping down my Turkish archers here, fucking assholes. But I wonder, I don't know for sure. Bannerlord, the game, the headquarters of Tale Worlds might even be in Istanbul, right? My mom did Peace Corps work in Istanbul. I'm acting like I know what I'm talking about here. Yeah, the former Constantinople, you know.
Footmen! Soldiers! Forward! Soldiers! Move! Soldiers! Forward! Soldiers!
Well, I'm in a bad spot here for sure. Not only do I have a fucking frog in my throat, so I've had to cough a couple times and mute the mic. I wish I had an extra arm. That way I can mute the mic while I'm swinging my axe and give commands. Bannerlord is a very hand-busy game. I've never cramped a hand so bad like I do in Bannerlord. You're trying to swing, and yet F1, F3, F2, F4, Unit 5, F1, F3. It's just so many different commands. All right, well, we've got no choice but to try a blitz here. I do have some archers that have a little bit of ammo, but you see these raggedy troops here. I've got a couple divisions of strong infantry, and then I've got a couple that look like they just came out of the YMCA in Istanbul or Azerbaijan or something like that. Some Middle Eastern country. These guys do not look like they're ready for battle. Fortunately, the enemy is falling for our trap here, right? Now we roar forward, hopefully before their archers set up, right? That's the whole idea. This is essentially a modification alternate of the Peekaboo Ridge. Now, I have no health. I just looked down. I'm going to have to be very, well, I'm not going to be careful. I just don't play carefully. That's not part of my repertoire. But I've got to try to not get killed here, right? If I can get an extra 50 kills, maybe we can pull this off. But this is a blitz, right? We're going to basically go back and forth until the enemy's more committed here.
And what I mean by more committed, until it's obvious that they have a whole bunch of troops right at the edge of this cliff. I'll do a little bit of reconnaissance here, and what we're basically trying to do is overwhelm them, right? It's you know, blitz, literally from blitzkrieg, from the Nazi style. You know, I hate giving them any credit, but essentially the idea is you just bring to bear all of your forces so suddenly that it just blows the enemy off the map. Napoleon essentially created a blitz after the Battle of Jena Auerstadt. He mangled the Prussians in a couple battles. It was actually him and Marshal Davout. I always fucking butcher the guy's name. You would think I would know his name by now. I've studied that era more than anything. Anyways, the blitz is very effective, especially if you have high-end troops, and we don't really have high-end troops, right? I'm going to put a little bit of troops here on our right flank to try to distract the enemy cavalry, because their horse is going to charge, not maybe, for sure, and the rest of our troops are just going to try to barrel downhill here. Come on, YMCA boys, let's go. I might sound loose, but I'm quite uncomfortable at this stage, right? I can't swing my axe. There's thousands of arrows hitting me in the face. The enemy heavy cav is boring in. It's 330 cavalry between their horse archers and heavy cav. And it's fucking chaos. Once you commit to this too, there's no turning back. We cannot retreat. The enemy's right on us. Their infantry and cavalry are clashing in our troops. I'm going to try to drag some units down here as fast as I can, because we have to try to get to their archers. This huge bank of archers that's spreading out. Obviously, if these guys start shooting uphill, we are going to get completely torched. I mean, we'll be dead in 20 seconds. You'll just hear, and we're scorched. The good thing is I don't have to focus much on my troops here. This is definitely an F1, F3 situation, right? Just pour troops down the fucking hill here and hope that we can catch enough enemy forces where they're not together. Like, this is optimal. A lot of their archers look like they're reforming. And so this, oh shit, they just started to shoot. This gives us a brief moment here. I was going to say this gives us a brief moment. We might have just died. Their archers are lighting us up. I don't know how I'm alive still. I just feel like I'm cutting everything to ribbons. God, this character is strong. Wait till he hits level 45. I mean, this guy is butchering everything. I jumped there because I feel like Superman. I just feel like I swing this axe and 4 guys die, even if they're like holding their sword up. It just breaks in their hand. I mean, this guy feels like a fucking superhero. I don't know if it's his size or if he just has an aura about him. He really does feel stronger than Zuvan, which was like a level 54 character from my last campaign. I don't know if the specs are a little different or what, but this guy just seems unstoppable. Now our army is annihilated. I just looked up. We're basically going to have to retreat here, right? When you've got like 20 troops left, that means it's time to go. This fucking guy here is trying to score the kill. Fuck you, cost your life, right? Yeah, get up. Get up! And this is a situation, right, where we're just hoping and praying that we can get out of here. They were sieging Razi. We're going to lose Razi. Yeah, when you're outnumbered 100 to 1, there's no tactics in the world that'll help you with that. So, discretion is the better part of valor, and now we're going to try to escape. We're out of here. Let's go. We get a little autosave here, and hopefully there's no spare units around. What's this guy doing? Traveling to Dunustica. You don't look like you're traveling. You look like you're attacking. He is attacking. Wow, this guy who ran initially, now he's all brave. After he sees us fight a huge battle, he's coming in here trying to claim all the glory. We're slightly favored, but I can't enter the battle. I don't have enough health. Oh shit, what happened? Attack of the Jawal had just died. He must have died of his wounds or something like that. That was strange. He died seconds. He didn't die right after the battle. He died like a little bit afterwards, like he bled out or something. Man, that was strange. What a strange sequence of events. Not only are we going to be able to escape, but I think we're going to be able to save the city. We're doing some healing here.
I don't have any choice because I can't actually enter the battle. I'd have to auto-resolve, and I don't want to do that. Although maybe I guess we would probably win. I know there's some guys for sure who are looking at this saying, just get in the castle. Lose your troops, sneak in, and you win. I'll just be honest with you, fellas. We're not always going to take the automatic route, right? Sometimes it kind of feels like cheese. Everybody knows that the auto-resolve for siege defense and Bannerlord is kind of broken, and I'm not gonna go through this whole campaign just auto-resolve, sneak into castle, sneak into city, auto-resolve, auto-resolve. It starts to feel both boring, but also a little cowardly, right? We're gonna fight on the field. We're gonna risk death. And how ignoble would it be if we did an auto-resolve and Wazu is killed in an auto-resolve, right? We're not doing that shit. In fact, that might be a situation where I save scum. Say I fought like 100 sturgeons and I had 1,200. We cornered like 100 with our 1,200, and I auto-resolved it, and Wazu is killed in battle. That might be a situation. It has not happened yet, I'll just tell you, fellas. I haven't had to save scum for Wazu. We've had to save scum because we've had crashes, but we haven't had to save scum for some reason like that. What the fuck is this guy? This is like a brigand or one of those mounted pillagers. He's about to be a dismounted pillager. Mounted pillager. That's like one of the looter horsemen. But anyways, that might be a situation where I would save scum. If Wazu was killed in some auto resolve, that would be stupid. That shouldn't even be a thing. Actually, they should just program it so that if you're outnumbering the enemy 10-1 or 5-1 or something like that, none of your lords can die, right? It should just be a thing. Yeah, this is a weak army. This is the remnants of that Southern Empire force. So we were close to winning there, but we just didn't have enough gas. It might have been that a few of my tactical decisions cost us the battle there. I'll be very honest again, fellas. I'm quite tired. In fact, I might break today's play session in multiple parts here. I feel like I need to go get a walk and get some fresh air. Of course, it's raining sideways, but I might need a nap and shit like that. Otherwise, my fucking narration's probably going to suck. I was going to say, yeah, I'll say it's going to suck dick, right? My narration probably has not been terrific today. And I won't apologize. It just is what it is, right? You guys... we're trying not to apologize when things aren't my fault. My wife and I have been working on that. I'll just go into this little philosophy here. We could still do philosophy when we're tired. My wife and I have a very unusual marriage. She lets me bang her sister. No, I'm sorry, fellas. There's no exciting shit like that. Basically, we're very, very open and upfront, honest about stuff. All right, like I told her right away, I was interested in her sister, and that was it, right? She divorced. No, I better stay serious here if we're going to do some philosophy. So one of the things we don't do is blame. It's actually two things: blame and guilt. We find these are toxic parts of a relationship. We do not commit to these emotions. Or these devices, these whatever you want to call them, right? There's a word for it, but we don't go there unless the other person intended to do what they did, right? In other words, let me give you an example here, and it almost never happens. Say you're emptying the dishwasher and you're a little careless, you're tired, and you break your wife's one of her favorite dishes. She used to get kind of upset, and I'd be like, look, I didn't mean to do that. I'm very sorry. And we just get rid of blame, right? We don't carry baggage overnight for stuff like that. I'm going to cut down every single one of these fucking Southern Empire. We're going to celebrate in this glorious sunrise here our victory before we get back to our amateur philosophy. But we just don't do that, right? Unless someone intentionally does something. And by the way, this is how the law treats it as well, right? If you run over an 8-year-old on your way to work, and that happens because the garbage truck coming the other way flings a bunch of snow on your window and you can't see, it's a horrible event, but you don't go to prison. But if you write on Facebook, I'm going to run over children today, fuck them, and then you hit a kid on the way to work, you're going to jail, right? You're getting 50 years in prison. So intent is everything, and that's how we treat our relationship. We basically go about it first, you don't really want to be blaming and guilt, by the way. If you guys are young guys or are doing that shit with it just goes both ways, right? You start blaming and guilt and they feel injured, and a lot of them will do it right back at you. Much, much better just to get rid of that shit for both of you, right? So you could have a little conversation about this shit and say, hey, I listened to this guy who swings a battle axe. He had an idea. What do you think? And she's gonna be like, are you crazy? Let's talk to an actual therapist. But just roll that one around, friends. Try to do the don't blame and don't guilt stuff with your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever it is. Unless they intended to do it, right? If they fuck your sister, you can blame. There can be some guilt involved. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to disband this army here. I'm going to gather up some of these troops here, partly because we lost Tac to Jual, right? So I'm going to have to gather up this army here. Partly because I don't want these minor clans leaving us, right? We need these guys for this next battle. Do a little bit of troop maintenance here, although all of our units have like max troops. I think everybody else got a huge amount of prisoners at the end of that battle. Of course, I was doing philosophy instead of narrating. You guys, you understand you understand how I roll these days. And unfortunately, the troops that we got as prisoners are the most ghetto. It looks like they're emptying out the penitentiary here. It's just like dreadful recruits and tribesmen and shit like that. The scum of the scum. But their bodies, right? And after that battle, we need some fresh bodies. We're gonna have these guys. They will do some work. But we got to get down to Tam Newcastle and rectify that situation there. I didn't want to do this. Yeah, we could just take a little break.
All right, now if I did that right yesterday, did a little fancy editing, hopefully you guys can't even notice that, right? That's kind of the idea, except the fact that my dumb ass is talking about it. It's a new day. I'm considerably refreshed. I did sleep a lot last night. That comes with the job. Sometimes we have to recover the next day, but we're feeling good here. And of course, we're starting to feel good about this campaign, right? We smashed the Sturgeons to the north. We were able to rescue Hassan Folk down here, albeit we needed some help from one of our companion armies. That was a strange situation. Realistically, if he just attacked with us, we probably would have won. Instead, he came in afterwards and acted like the savior. It's kind of ironic, of course, because I've done that to various people in this campaign. Here we have the Empress. Regea is still around, for those curious. We're in the year 1111, right? And Regea here is still sieging, right? So we've got a battle against her. Given the power bar, I think this is not going to be a battle. I'm actually over-caffeinated. I'm fucking burping. Hopefully you guys don't hear that shit. I'm going to try to wait for this companion here just to be sure. I'm keeping a very close eye on the amount of defenders inside the castle. And now, if he's involved, we're going to smash. He's not quite involved yet, so we just move a little bit. And he should now be involved. All right. So I'm doing this for two reasons. Of course, we want to defend the castle, but I want a landslide victory here, right? And the reason I want a landslide victory is that the Southern Empire is next, right? These motherfuckers took the aggression on us. They attacked Razi, they attacked Hassan Folk, and now they've attacked this castle. I'm not thrilled about the layout of this landscape. We're downhill, and in fact, I remember a very long time ago in this campaign fighting a battle here and really taking it on the chin. Because of this situation. It was just stupid, of course. They're the ones sieging the castle. We would be able to attack them at whatever angle we wanted, but I digress. We do have a manifestly stronger force here. It's larger in number and probably higher quality. I say probably because the Southern Empire forces do have a monster force. That's the other thing, sort of looking back at it. That fight at Hassan Folk, that was one of the strongest armies of this whole campaign. That enemy force had something like 1,000 tier 5 and 6 units. It reminds me actually of those Valandian fucking dreadnought armies that we were fighting way back in the day of Mata. But I digress anyways, right? We put them aside again with the assistance of Radan here. He came in kind of cowardly late. but victory is still victory. And of course, the key thing there is our forces weren't captured. To this date, right, Wazu has never been captured. He has had some miraculous escapes. He's had to flee a few times. I think if he was a boxer, if you're counting battles where he escapes, loses but escapes as draws, I think he would be like 86-0-3 or something like that, right? He's basically undefeated. Now, of course, he's been defeated in battles, but I think you guys understand what I mean. When you're not captured in a battle, it's pretty close to being undefeated, right? You're able to come back literally in a few hours or the next day at full strength. All right, I've got two different angles here of cavalry. We're going to form a protective area around our archers because we have a lot of archers still. I want to reform this army. I'm considering what to do after this battle, and it might be to run north to Danustica to try to even out the force here. I do have a lot of archers, but there are disadvantages sometimes to archers. I think when Mata was in charge of the clan a very long time ago, she had too many archers. And if you're fighting a lot of troops with too many archers, there can be too much, right? Even though I know I have the archer-only series and we're flattening everything on the moon, we also have like 300 Battanian Fiend champs in that army. Very different when you have master archers instead, right? These guys pull out a little flimsy sword. I'm reminded of the Crocodile Dundee. I get a little skit in my head where a master archer tries to mug a Battanian Fiend champ, right? This is obviously just totally farcical here, but he walks up to him in the alleyway and there's three master archers and the Battanian Fiend champ is like, what do you want? And they're like, your money, motherfucker, or your life. And his friend standing next to him is like, you know, standing next to the Fiend champ is like, dude, give him the money. They got a sword. And the Fiend champ is like, that's not a sword. That's not a knife. And he pulls it out Crocodile Dundee style and says, that's a knife. Right? And the fucking master archers flee. Cuts up their jacket and shit. If you've never seen that movie, of course, I just totally lost you guys. It's not a great movie. I mean, this is a movie from the 80s, so you got to deal with, or maybe the 90s, you got to deal with all the hokiness of that. But it's pretty good. It's pretty funny in its own way. And there I just dated myself. But you guys already know I'm pretty open about my age, so it doesn't really matter. All right, little countercharge with infantry here. Fuck you, bitches. Cavalry charging in. They're being assailed by arrows. We do have a good enough balance in this army to make it work, right? That's why we've been smashing these armies in the open. Of course, we did lose that battle. Oh, shit, that guy almost drilled me. We did lose that battle to the Southern Empire in the open. They were also outnumbering us like almost 3-1, and they had a ton of elite troops. Here, the death spam is unbelievably green. And again, this is even though despite the fact that they have elite troops, right? They're getting shredded. Anytime you could put archers in a strong defensive position like this and have the enemy... Where's their infantry? I don't see it. Let's start pushing guys back. Are they on the ridge there? It looks like they're on the ridge, which is even better, right? We're going to be able to surround their infantry and destroy it. I've been worried they were going to have a big vanguard, and they do, but they're late to the party here. And if you're late to the party... You get all the fucking food and drinks that nobody else wants, right? These guys are going to get the shit snacks and stuff like that, and they're going to get put in the ground. Archers over there. I've got that 5th Archer Division way on the other side, and they're a little vulnerable, but I think it's okay because they are spraying the enemy with arrows on that flank. Here comes their vanguard, right? So we've got the 1st, 6th, and 3rd. You guys are familiar with me doing this by now. We're going to envelop these fuckers, right? It's a quasi-kill box. These guys are just pouring in here. I didn't mean to get off my horse, but it's going to work just fine, I think. They're fucking rushing at me. Get over here, boys. The cavalry there is screening us from their archers. I can actually hear them getting shelled with arrows. Meanwhile, we pour in here, right? The 1st, 6th, and 3rd now totally envelop these poor infantrymen. And these are elite infantry still, right? Look at their force really does look like our force. It's Palace Guards, Aserai veteran infantry, and the difference is that their commander is poorly written AI software code, right? They have no chance here. It's just a carving. They're getting crushed, and the screen just flushes with that yummy green color. I think I'll reduce the size of that for future battles because I do realize it covers like a quarter of the screen. We'll do the little reduced side where it's just, you know, a 20th of the screen. Anyways, I digress. This Aserai force here, or excuse me, this Aserai force, that's what it feels like. This Southern Empire force here is being systematically obliterated. Cavalry just melted. And these kind of battles in the future, there's a chance I auto-resolve these, because as huge of a battle as this is, 2,000 against 2,000, or almost 2,000, a lot of guys, this would be literally the biggest battle of their whole campaign. These battles may become a dime a dozen because of the stage of this campaign with massive enemy forces and, of course, amplified lords and armies from the Strength and AI mod. This may just end up being a routine battle. I mean, right now, I can assure you it feels routine to me, right? We're waiting for the next wave. They'll probably have multiple elite waves, but I don't think that's going to matter at all, right? We've got multiple arrows to shoot at their multiple elite waves. I got horse archers circling us here, but those guys are shredded, right? They're outnumbered 500 to 1, or 500 to 100, right? We have so many more javelin and horse archer units than them. There's shock troops just waiting for someone to get near them to swing their savage weapon at them. And we're holding this ridge. I didn't intend on it being a peekaboo ridge. I was trying to use the landscape here, those rocks from them being able to come at our center. But it's functioning as both, right? Those rocks are making it difficult for them to charge over the ridge. And it is a quasi-peekaboo ridge, a reverse slope decline. I haven't actually done a huge amount of terrain battles in this campaign. That'll probably change. The other thing that'll probably change, not that I'm going to ride a camel a lot. I'm just doing it here because I want to do some reconnaissance of their forces. But I might start doing some more RTS and RBM in this campaign, right? We're in the 40s for episodes. And just to keep things fresh, just to keep things educational, hopefully entertaining, we will do a few. I can't even hit guys. So this is a problem. Look, I can't get... It's almost like I'm flying on a ESPN camera over the football field. Nobody can hit me. You don't see it. I mean, if I'm right next to a guy and swing straight down, I can hit him with my axe. But I gotta say, I think it's because Wazuban is so big. Of course, if I had a long pole arm, it would work better. But I also feel like the enemy literally can't hit me. He's got a giant shield on his back, a barn door shield. I'm 7'4" tall. It just feels, he's wearing incredible armor. He already feels tough, but riding a camel, it actually feels like a cheat code. It feels like Wazuban cannot be killed, cannot be touched. So we won't do that a whole lot. We don't need advantages here on the enemy. The enemy's already being wholesale slaughtered. We do some shield and shock here. We're getting on the ground because, of course, Wazuban likes his foot combat, right? We're going to engage in some hand-to-hand. We're going to slowly push this cav division forward, this camel cav division forward with infantry behind it, and then I will sort of periodically move the archers up to optimal locations. The enemy's got tons of horse archers and Cavalry, I guess we call it, right? The javelin cavalry. But at this stage, unless we make a big mistake, this battle's over. That's interesting. I was trying to flank, and the enemy's very quickly flanking to follow us. So we'll just bore in on them here, right? The second and third are on our left. I was going to sweep in on the enemy's right flank, but they headed right for them, and they get what they deserve, right? This is what happens when you charge. Oh, shit. Those are all archers. They got a lot of archers here. So let's shove our cavalry right into their face, getting fucking speared from behind. I've got half a health bar, so we're going to wade in here. Capture the fucking Empress in this battle. We're beheading some fucking mercenaries. Wazuban's kicking his way to victory here. Let's keep shoving this cavalry. This is one of the best uses of cavalry in the whole game, right? They've got 280 archers right there. We're not going to let them hammer us with arrows, right? This 100 cavalry of ours is going to lead the way. These are our linemen, the football analogy, and these guys are going to shove a hole for us, and then anything that sort of appears on our side, like these guys here, let's follow them with the third corps. All these guys are trying to spread out on our right flank. Fuck no. Send the shock troops. You guys can all be fucking eviscerated. Fatal mistake, and it looks like they just realized it, right? They're all pulling back. They're like, oh shit, how come I can't hit this guy? Oh, wait. At first I swung at him and it acted like he was a player character. What's that archer doing? He's like pushing up with his weapon. Maybe he's out of ammo. And they're causing quite a bit of damage because they have elite troops, right? We're pushing in against tier 5 infantry. They've got elite Navletons attacking us, palace guards.
But we've got the enemy on the ropes here, right? They look like that proverbial boxer taking uppercuts every other hit, and they're trying to fight back, but their swings are wild, and their corner is like, this battle's over, this fight's over. They know. The writing's on the wall. I'm just gonna play this through, right? This is one of those battles that feels like revenge, even though technically we didn't get captured. To be able to come back here and smash these two Southern Empire forces in this battle. A little Southern two-step, right? It's like a country dance. That's what this feels like, right? We do a little fake loss. Got cavalry trying to charge me down and shit, motherfuckers. The enemy's not giving up yet, but it's a futile endeavor, right? They're going to have archers set up on the flank pretty soon. Oh, shit. Man, I just took a lot of damage. I'll have to look at that later. I had like, I don't know, 40% health and got one shot. That was probably a direct spear shot to the ear hole. Evidently, Wazu is still pretty mortal, right? And he went down fast there. I mean, maybe I was wrong. I don't know. I wasn't looking very closely, but I thought I had a lot of health. I was being a little careless. All right, anyways, we push forward here. I didn't hear him yell. Usually when your main character gets killed, they make a different death sound. They're like, oh, or something like that. That's a bad impersonation of it. You guys get the idea. Generally, there are multiple different death noises, and if they make sort of the loud, it sounds like that fucking hurt death noise, your character's killed. And that's a factor in this campaign, right? Wazuban can definitely, we're playing with fire here, right? We have the we have the death for all mod fired up. And I'm going to increase that death for all here at certain points in this campaign. Not yet, but probably pretty soon. It's an envelopment process at the end of this battle here that they're really putting up a fight, or at least they're really digging in, but they should be just digging their grave, right? These are now middle tier troops. They're surrounded by elite troops, and it's all over except the beheading. I'm going to get some farming EXP with this character. This is one of my relatively new characters, and you can tell by how badly he's getting his ass whipped. He has, I think this is, I didn't even see, it's either Dashal the Falcon or something like that, or it's Shalar the Golden. I've got two Arabic characters that are going to be prominent in this campaign. They are going to be clan leaders. I hope they don't get killed. And they're going to be important party leaders in this campaign. If you're wondering, we're on episode 40 or something like that, 45. I don't know at this stage because I haven't processed and put all the titles and stuff like that. But if you're wondering what the fuck's going on with this campaign, how many episodes are you going to do? I don't know, folks. I'm just playing. I'm going to narrate. And I've just decided I'm going to play until this campaign feels thoroughly over. Right? And by the way, that means that you're not going to see Wazuban, unless I use like cheat codes or something. You're not going to see him capture every city. I'm just not going to. I know there's some guys who love doing that shit, right? At the end, they've got an army of 20,000 and they're attacking cities that have, 600 defenders, and they have this gigantic army assembled. Maybe we'll get like a screenshot where he assembles an army of 5,000 or something like that. But I'm not going to attack and destroy every single city because it becomes incredibly monotonous. And it also, there's no point, right? Once you have about half the map or 2/3 of the map, the game is over. Okay, we're going to take her over to the side here and take her helmet. You always want that helmet. Everybody always seems to want that helmet. And in 10,000 hours, that's how many hours I've played Bannerlord, I have seen that helmet twice in a town, and I got it once from a drop. I don't remember the circumstances, otherwise I would try to repeat it. Of course, it was fighting Imperials. They were in Imperial towns, I can tell you that. I think Ortesia is the closest my foggy memory remembers of it. A lot of people are really eager to get that helm, the one with the spikes, the golden shit, but I've only seen 3 of those in 10,000 hours. So there you have it, right? It's extraordinarily rare. All right, let's see. Strategy here. These motherfuckers, sturgeons, are attacking. And you know what? That might be just close enough for us to make the return up north and zip back down here. We'd have to do it in a hurry. My army's a mess right now. We actually have a huge amount of troops, but we have a lot of injured. I've got to restock the garrison at Tamnu Castle here. And I've got some ideas here. I don't
I'm looking down. This is going to be over an hour. I don't think we're going to do it for this episode, but the next episode, I think we will talk about campaign strategy and, more importantly, logistics, right? If Napoleon was a great battlefield commander, he was a master logician. He was a master at logistics, right? We'll use that word instead. That's one of the most important parts of war. And if you've never heard of that word, of course, I better tell you, it basically means feeding, moving, clothing, arming, organizing your armies, right? We're going to try to give a master class of that in this next episode, the kind of thing that'll really help you guys with your campaign. So I'm going to wrap this episode up. I'm actually going to fire a new one up as soon as I'm done with this recording. Of course, you want to see more of this campaign, fellas, you want to subscribe, put on notifications. I appreciate you, fellas. I appreciate you putting up with my tired brain yesterday. And with all that said, I will see you fellas next time.